Hey, family, welcome to How Love Works, where we talk about the principles for lasting love. Hey, it's been a long time. I know it's been a long time. Hey, but I'd like to give a shout out to two of my subscribers that kind of got me back in the flow of things. And one of them is Dr. Lovey. God bless you, sister. And Fonda Jones. Thank you, sisters. Thank you for keeping me abreast of what's going on out here in the lovosphere, if you will, and what's going on out here. I know things have been kind of crazy as of late because of the election debacle that's going on. But I don't really want to pour cold water on our time together. I don't want to waste my time with all that political nonsense. I want to jump right on into what's going on. We're going to be reviewing Ready to Love, which is one of my favorite shows. I really like that show. This is my third review from the last two times, or the last couple years they've been doing this show. I really get a lot of satisfaction in reviewing this show. So, with that being said, what I like to say is that I'm really excited about this show because I'm really intrigued about the new concept they're using, Ready to Love, The Last Resort. I'm starting kind of late because I really got the times confused and now realize that the show is going to be every Friday. I think it's what it was the last two seasons, but again, I guess I got myself a little bit confused, and so I'll be on top of it going forward. Now, the problem I'm having, brothers and sisters, with this new format, I still think it's intriguing, but when it comes to relationships, one of the problems I'm having with it is that it's going to be compartmentalized. It's a compartmentalized environment because, all 20 of the participants in this journey or on this journey, it's going to be fodder, if you will, or it's going to be a ripe environment for corruption in a sense. And as we go forward in this review, you'll see later on where you'll see where I'm coming from. And as a result, I think it could become a real problem for couples who are really trying to create a love connection. So it begs the question, it begs the question, are these individuals and the couples that will form later, are they really ready for love? Okay, now from my standpoint, there are a lot of different perceptions on love today. Most perceptions concerning love or love relationships or love marriages, it tends to revolve around an enormous amount of feelings and sexual desire. And to be fair, that is erotica is a part or an expression of love, but is it the defined aspect of love? Is it actually what the foundation of love is built upon? Uh, I dare to suggest that it is not. Because if it were the case, I think more relationships would still be lasting today. Now, my understanding of love is that it's selfless. It's a selfless act on the part of the individual. It's a selfless act of service. It's a selfless act of conduct, a selfless act and attitude concerning not only the individuals in your environment, but life itself. I also think that love is isn't about an emotional intensity. It's more about consistency. Love is not really about emotional intensity. It's more about consistency. Okay. The longer you're with someone, you want to see consistency, at least the type of consistency that enhances and adds value to the relationship. And number three, love is selfless seeking the highest good of the individual. Is selflessly seeking the highest good of the individual. Now, these are some sporadic concepts of love, just so you have some understanding on what I am looking for when I look at these couples as we review and go forward and seeing what their ultimate end will unfortunately be like. The reason I say unfortunately, because out of these couples, obviously there's only going to be 6 remaining. And sadly today, most relationships, I'd say over 50 to 60% of relationships, they fail epically. They fail. And I think the reason is because most people understand love to be tied to the concept of valuing themselves based upon their productivity, their status, their their investment in the relationship, their achievement, their sexuality, and even their self-image. Now, in and of itself, those things are not objectively evil, but to value yourself and value those things that I just mentioned as love, I think really encumbers and causes a lot of issues. Now, let me briefly go over these individuals real quick, zip on through these guys. And I'm going to give you the guys first. And the first guy you guys are familiar with is Califani, big built, muscular guy. And his pet peeve is, his red flags are he doesn't like jealousy. And, he thinks that if he looks good, his girl ought to look good. And then everything in their relationship will be good. I think that's kind of superficial. Personally, but that's the way he perceives a relationship. Rashid, the big, tall, slim brother, luxury car broker, that brother's divorced. He was married 10 years. He seems to have a lot of confidence. Makes sense. He's 42 years old, divorced, has 1 kid. I can see that he would have, obviously, a lot of confidence, and some women are taken back by that confidence, like Denise did. And I think that's because of a lack of healing that perhaps she hasn't began to benefit from yet. And so she assumes, because of his bravado and even his confidence, that he's narcissistic. Unfortunately, for some women, they need to understand that could be the case, but just meeting a guy initially, you got to remember, when it comes to first impressions, they can be wrong at times because there are a lot of things going on. Men can be nervous, a woman can be nervous. And so you might have to give it a little, give it some time. And you might have to see the story underneath the story to determine whether or not if it's coming from a genuine place or not. But oftentimes when a man is being, he's trying to impress a woman, that's only because he likes her. He's enchanted by her. He wants to start out on the best footing he can. So that's the case. And then you got Bryant, education consultants, the guy, dark skinned brother with the beard. All the women likes him. He says that he's competitive and he's relentless and he's going to pursue a woman. I like his strategy. Probably going to work. He's most likely looked at the last 2 programs or the last 2 shows, and he realized that what you have to do, especially if you want to stay in front of the camera and you want to be one of the 6, you have to go in as quickly as you can, go through the women in terms of, in a sense, doing an assessment, find a woman or 2 women, and then focus and be relentless on that one. And it's most likely you'll stay in the running. And then you have David. Now, we all know David got kicked off. I didn't think he would necessarily that quickly, but based upon some of the way he communicated, I can see how he could put some women off, and so that's one of the reasons he got kicked off pretty quickly. Then you have Jay. He's the real estate broker, a little tall, a little short, bald head brother. Not real short, but I'd say about 5'10", 5'10", because I'm 6 feet, so eh, that ain't a big deal. But I'm saying that he divorced his wife. That's what he said. He divorced her, and the bottom line is, he's looking for love. At least that's what he claims. So we'll see. He's a divorced brother, got a couple kids. We'll see how that turns out. The next guy is Sam. Now Sam, he kind of put his own foot in his mouth. I watched out. Sam did not really step up his game, as it were. All the women noticed that he seemed to be standoffish, and then even when he did have his conversation, he didn't even look the woman in the eye. And I know some of the women were a little bit more understanding than others, but he didn't really do a good job of projecting himself. His confidence didn't appear to be where it needed to be. And women are very impressed, as well as men, when it comes to confidence. And he didn't really show himself as a man in terms of how he expressed himself to the women. He seemed to be like most really artistic, artsy, bartsy kinds of people. They kind of go squirrely on you. They get to talking about one thing, and then all of a sudden they over there, and that type of thing doesn't go over well. And so as you all know, he got the boot. He was the first guy gone. And then you got Chris. He's the radio host. He's got that voice. He's just real smooth. I mean, it's like a smooth cup of coffee. That's how smooth it is. And I could listen to him on the radio. I could tell he's real smooth. But one thing I do like about him, he's one of the only guys that came in here talking about, his biological clock. He wants to have a child. He wants to. Now, the only thing that I am a little cautious, I'm sorry, with Chris, is that he didn't necessarily say he wanted to start a family, that he wanted to get married. Now, to be fair to Chris, he didn't say he didn't either. So I'm left with the idea that because of the type of show, the context of the show, that's perhaps what he's there for. I hope that's the case. Now, I know from what I've been seeing with this show, a lot of people have been just using the show as a means to their own end to get into the acting business, to enhance to enrich themselves rather than going in finding long-term relationships. I hope I'm wrong when it comes to this young man, but this is what I'm saying. Okay, Edwin, the chef, the guy with the looks like me, got the gray and the hair and the gray, and good looking guy. And he's impressing a lot of ladies right now. But he says he's ready for love. We're going to see. And then you got Raymond, the musician. And all the women pretty much saw Raymond as, forgive me, I'm going to use the term hooer. And because he had 5, we would call them in my day, illegitimate children, only because, not that they're not authentic and legitimate, they are, but illegitimate from the standpoint that he did not marry their mothers. He had 4 women, 5 children, 3 females, 2 males. That's a lot of activity. And the reason, one of the women asked him, I think it was, let me see, the lawyer, what's her name, the attorney, Simone. She asked him, what's changed? And he simply said, grew up. I guess that's as good as answer as any, right? All right. And then last but not least, we got Anthony. And Anthony, just like Bryant, was a pro football player, was a pro athlete. And he's a student, I guess, supervisor. And I don't know what to think of this guy right now. I have to give some time and take a look at this guy, but I'm not sure where to go with this guy right now. Okay, then you got Joy. Uh, she says she's not into being a fixer-upper. We're gonna find out about Joy. She was married at one time, and then let's go on to Andrea. Andrea is the 31-year-old. She's the Alex of the group, the young girl, and she's already with Rashid, and we're gonna see how that turns out. I'm not sure if she's gonna stick with Rashid, but I don't know. Everybody's in this one place. I'm telling you, this is not a good idea. I don't think that's gonna be a good idea necessarily if you're really trying to create real lasting love, because most people kind of go back to their instinctual behavior. And then you have Alicia. Alicia's Alicia's is she says she's fabulous, and she says she knows her worth, and she says that when she finds or meets men, they either want to marry or they want to have sex. Um, and she says some interesting things concerning that, and we'll see how things turn out with her. See how long she lasts. She's very attractive. I'll give her that. She's very attractive. Winter as well. She's very attractive. Winter, she was divorced as well, and she's a business consultant. And I kind of like Winter myself. She's a favorite of mine. I hope she does find a decent man. But she did mention that if she was in a room full of 10 men, that she would go directly to the wrong guy every time. Her picker is not working very well. And then you have Simone. Simone is the attorney. One of the things that was funny about what she had to say is she had a threshold question, and her question was, "Do I want to see you naked?" I think she was just being funny, facetious. I hope that's what she was being funny and facetious. I hope she didn't really mean that as a way of assessing the value of a relationship through this question, because it's not going to get you anywhere if that's what your real bottom line question is. She almost got the boot, because she was acting like a lawyer, and she was just, kind of giving everyone the third degree, and it was really, putting a lot of men off. Denise, she's the track and field coach. She's the I am woman, hear me roar. She's the alpha female. She's kind of aggressive, and I think there's a soft side to it, but she's making right now, from what I see, she's starting to make one of the most common classical mistakes a lot of women, as well as men, but a lot of women make. She's zeroing in necessarily on one man, and her expectations are huge, and she's not really, from right now that I can tell, maintaining an open mind, and she's kind of concealed herself off and compartmentalized herself off, but she's thinking about uh, Califani and him only. And I don't see that working out. All right. And then you have Denise. I just mentioned her. Danny. I like Danny. I thought Danny was a very attractive young lady. Unfortunately, all the brothers thought of her as a homegirl, and she ended up with the boot. But I thought she was a sweet young lady. All right. Then you got Shay, the chef. Uh, Shay is cool. I like her, but she doesn't seem to have no one. She doesn't seem to be. No man is kind of zeroed in on her right now. She's a very attractive young lady, but no man is zeroed in on her at this point. Naya, on the other hand, she's a throwback. She's feminine, and of course, being feminine is very attractive to men, and brothers is taking a look at her. That femininity is very hard. It's very hard to ignore. And then you have the last but not least, Alex, the software specialist. She's very attractive as well, and I think she's got a very humble, kind heart. I think, like again, I've said a lot of them are going to probably make the same mistakes that a lot of them do, which is everybody wants to go straight into Let's see how we mesh, connect physically, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Again, I don't see that as working out. Um, as I mentioned earlier, you got Sam, Raymond, and David. Those guys got the boot. Okay. Danny got the boot. And so I'm thinking next week, I might be wrong. I'm thinking Shay and maybe Denise. I might be wrong on that. Might end up getting the boot from the brothers, you know, because I'm seeing a lot of other girls are getting a lot of attention, and I'm not sure Shay's not getting any attention really that I can see on camera. She might be, but I just can't see it. Now, as I get ready to close here, uh, from what I see, my takeaway from everything I noticed from um, season 3, episode 2 and 1, is that, you know, when it comes to men, ladies, and, you know, everyone knows that's been watching me any period of time, my bottom line is that I'm here to shine a little light on helping men and women to better relate to one another, help them to, you know, through my experience, I've been married 39 years. Next year, it'll be 40 years. Same woman, no outside kids, no adultery, no craziness. You know, I found my partner. Everything I needed, everything I wanted in one woman, I got. Okay. Was I smart about it in the beginning? No, I think that was just God. It wasn't me. Trust me. Trust the brother. But when it came to these gentlemen, what I want the ladies to understand is that, you know, there are some basic needs that all men need, at least the marriageable or the marrying kind of men. There are basic 10 needs that all men need. You can add more, you can take away, it depends on you. But at the end of the day, you got to get a brother some respect. Every brother needs respect. He wants to be trusted. He needs encouragement. He needs to be appreciated. He needs to be accepted. He needs to be understood. He needs to have self-determination or autonomy. What that means, he doesn't want to be mothered. He doesn't want to be controlled. Number 8, he needs attention. And that attention should be prioritized, meaning he is primary. And the perception when it comes to attention is that he doesn't want the kind of attention where it's always focused on what he's not doing. Okay. And number 9, he needs affection. That's non-sexual affection and sex. That's what he needs. In that order. Sex, as you noticed, was last. All right. Now, and the last takeaway is if these couples or these individuals are really ready to love, then if they're really ready to love, let me read what I wrote down on this subject. If they're really ready to love, then you don't know if you're really ready to love, if you don't know that physical attraction and sex alone isn't sufficient for heart-soul connection. If you're really ready to love, and if you don't know that attraction and sex alone isn't sufficient for heart-soul connection. We're going to see in this show, because I've seen a lot of the previews, that they go into the, you know, same old. Everybody just immediately start going into the instinctual thing. Let's go in the bedroom and do what we do. And you're not going to get no heart, and you're not going to get no soul connection. You're going to get that physical connection, but it's not going to hold. It's not going to last. All right. And you're going to see a whole lot of the drama that comes as a result of that. Okay. If you are ready to love, then, and if you do those things, do that number 1 thing I just mentioned, you may not be ready for love. Okay. Number 2, if these people are ready for love, if you are not self-aware, I don't mean self-love because self-love without humility, grace, and truth leads to sentimentality and more epic failure relationally. And that means you may not be ready for love. And number three, if you are not skilled in the soft skills, if you are not skilled with the soft skills, what are the soft skills? The CIA: communication, influence, and attraction. All right. You communication, you have to be able to negotiate what you need. You have to know how to negotiate. Okay. Influence, you have to learn how to persuade without controlling and manipulating. And number three, attraction. That's receptivity. That's confidence. That's passion. And that's authenticity. That's attraction. All right. And last but not least, if you are not aware how to respectfully, with clarity, express your wants and needs in love, then you may not, you may not be ready for love. All right, family. I enjoyed this time. That's my time. I thank you for yours. I catch you on the other side. God bless.